Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing absolutely wonderful, and welcome to another cat sermon. I decided that we're going to do a cat sermon up inside this place today because, I was thinking about a different place to go, but then I just really like this place, and I thought that this was a neat image here with the fire. So let's go inside and say our prayers, huh? Today we're going to be talking about all kinds of different stuff, and hopefully I can get you guys some good sermon having. Because sermons are good for the soul. Anyway, we'll go ahead and do right here. I like the open ground and things like that. And there's a nice shiny deer over there. So that's cool. Anyway, today we'll face this way and we'll begin with a prayer. O Divine Mother, guide us on your path. Guide us so that our hearts may be full of mercy and love and forgiveness. Guide us so that we may forgive ourselves for our trespasses, and guide us that we may forgive everyone we come across. Guide us so we may have love in our hearts, and that we may always seek to do the right thing. O sweet Divine Mother, please guide us so that we may always come back to you. O sweet Divine Mother, please guide us so that we may all be a good representative of your love and mercy. Thank you, Divine Mother, for everything you have given us. Please, Divine Mother, guide me and purify my heart. Guide me and purify everyone's heart. Watch over our families and watch over our great extended families, which is all of humanity and all beings on this earth, as well as all beings in the universe. Thank you, Ma Kali, for everything you have given us. Om Krim Hakali Kali Namaha. Okay. You know, there's an awful lot of things going on lately, and I sometimes pay attention to them. But sometimes you got to remember that the world is always trying to get you to pay attention to it, right? The world is always trying to push its way into your focus and always trying to get you to pay attention to it, whether it's with nice things, like, you know, fun parties or, a nice things to look at or nice things to eat or nice things to touch, nice sensations to experience. The world's always trying to press in on you. And, that's kind of part of the great game. The great game is in part you being able to look at those things and go, ah, yes, those can be fun, but they're only fun, or they're the most fun when you do it for God. And, you know, why not direct all of your passions and things like that towards God? Why not take your desire to see lovely things and use it to turn towards God? When you look at lovely paintings or drawings or things like that, why not turn towards God? When if you're married and you have a beautiful partner or a lovely partner or someone you love in your life, why not, when you see them, think of God? Because, God is within all things. We often do this thing where we like to separate everything based on these levels of purity and on these ideas about what is truly, the best thing from God and what is just like a temptation and things like that. But the truth is that all things can ultimately point to God if you look at them in the right way. Even people's lust for like money and things like that. You know, that attempt to gather all the money and get to the top of the hierarchy, that's actually just your desire to be closer to God and your desire to be in contact with God. It's just being misdirected, you know? And that's kind of one of the funny things, is that even the things that we supposedly think drag us away from God actually bring us closer towards God. And that's also why we should always remember that, just because someone acts differently than us or someone does different rituals than us, that doesn't mean that they're wrong or bad or evil or anything like that. Some people just have different ways of approaching God. Some ways are ways that God draws people closer to her in, ways that you would never understand. Maybe some people are drawn to God specifically in the form of Christ. And maybe you say, well, Christianity is silly, or you say you think Christianity is silly, or maybe some people are drawn to God in the form of like Vishnu or Shiva or something like that, and you might say that's silly. But God has myriad ways to speak to us and myriad ways to appear before us. She's just so wonderful and great like that. For some people, going to church is like one of the best, holiest occasions, but for other people, just going out into the woods, going for a nice hike and looking at nature and looking at the wondrous creation of God is the best temple. Or, looking up in the cosmos, seeing the stars and seeing how grand her creation really is. All of these stars and all these galaxies and all these crazy, crazy things going on out there. Or you can see God in a tree. Like you can see the whole cosmos in a tree. You can see, like all the dust of stars and the warmth of the sun and the very nature of the earth and the water and all these other elements. They all go into making a tree. You know, Ma Kali did not make this world and all these other worlds just so we could find only one way to approach her and only one way for us to be. She has given us a myriad of paths, and she has given us so much, so many blessings, and so many different ways to see her. And even sometimes we see a lot of suffering in this world, and you might think, oh man, how would you get to God through the suffering in the world? But you can even get to God through the suffering in the world. Sometimes you suffer and you have a bad day and you just cry out, God, I just need you right now, and she'll be there for you. Or you see people who are suffering and you go and you want to help them. That's like the inner divine mother calling to you to help these people. You know, or even just an animal, and even the suffering in the world brings you closer to Ma. It's like one of the crazy glorious things about her, right? Like all of this strangeness, all of this odd ball, this odd mud ball we live on with all of its beauty and all of its flowers and all of its strange things. And anybody can come to Ma, anybody anywhere, like some cultures are obsessed with purity and things like that, but it's not about like purity. It's about like the love and devotion within your heart. It's about the truth that is spoken through the very waves of the universe. Every particle and wave speaks to the glory of God. And it's kind of crazy to think about all this stuff, and sometimes you just have to sit back in utter awe of the beauty of this creation and the wonder of it, and how it twists and turns in so many different ways, and often there are ways that you would never even expect and you'd never really understand at first. But when you can really dedicate yourself and find the time, there's just so much glory and love in it. And even in the suffering, there's beauty in even the suffering, and that's what's so strange about this picture. Like it's a fantastic mural that God has created, but it's so hard to see when you're up close. When you're really up close, it's really hard to see the whole mural and how crazy it really is, and how like all the different colors that are being used and all the different elements that go into it. When you're too close, you just see like little particular elements. But if you can back up and take the time to really look at and admire it, it's astonishing. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Let me tell you. I mean, and I'm a little kitty who's traveled quite a bit of a ways, man. I've traveled across the stars and things. I've seen all kinds of things. And let me tell you, you never really run out of things to explore. There's always something more to see and do. And like Ma Kali is within everything. The Divine Mother is within everything. And we get to see the glory of creation. Like one of the beautiful things about being human is, not just our knowledge that we've managed to gain, but like we have the ability to look at things through different perspectives and to see all of the creation of Ma, or just a lot of the creation of Ma, and to see how weird and twisty it is, and how neat it is, and how beautiful it is. Just think about like the sheer variety of flowers on just this planet alone, or the variety of life. Some of it is just so crazy and so wondrous. We really are very fortunate in what we're able to see. And you know, Ma puts us all through different little trials and tribulations, but also different gifts and pleasures and things like that. And we get to look and see each other, and we get to see what makes each other tick, and we get to see what makes each other happy, and we get to see, um, you know, a lot of things. And some people, they have real trouble in this life, and it's kind of hard to say, but sometimes you can even see in the various different struggles that people have each day a real beauty and a real purpose and drive behind it. And it's so crazy when you look out far enough, because that's the thing. It's like these great waves. The whole thing is just like an endless sea, spinning and twirling forever. And she's dancing at the center of it. And think about processes like evolution. Think about the divine dance on every step of that way. We learn more and more about like consciousness and things like that. And it's like when you find out that even things like ants can be conscious, and like ants can even like kind of recognize themselves in the mirror and things like that. It's like so weird to see, and like think about all this different stuff, man. It's crazy. I think sometimes we really need to like look up at the stars and look at like the glory of this creation, and like the fantastic stories that humans tell each other, and like the fantastic stories that we'll be able to tell for generations and generations. And even if the whole human race goes extinct, like consciousness is still there, and it still praises Ma. And aliens out there praise Ma, and all this other crazy stuff. I mean, you got to think about all of existence has this one thing, this consciousness at the center of it. It's like just crazy. I don't know. Sometimes I just really want to share like my appreciation and these moments where I cannot help but like find the glory and the love within existence itself. Like, you can see the entire cosmos in your body, and you can see the entire cosmos in like a tree. And like all of these great bodies, these celestial bodies out there, all coalesce and are coterminous with one another as we are coterminous with them. And when, like I said, the thing with the mural is that it's so hard when you're too close to see all the beauty and everything. But sometimes, like one of the beautiful things about religion and proper practice is that it can help you step back and see a greater picture, and see the great picture of the divine plan and this divine existence that we get to experience, and all of this wonder and glory. We get to see the various different religions. We get to see, there are people like Sufis and Buddhist monks and Hindu mystics and all these other people who have come into contact with the divine, and got to experience it. Or maybe we call it emptiness, or maybe we call it fullness. We call it all kinds of different things, and we get to experience this great uh, mural. And sometimes we get to get a glimpse of the whole thing in action, And when you get a glimpse of the whole thing in action, it's just it kind of just is awe. It just like strikes awe into your heart. You're just like looking at like, whoa. Okay, well maybe you don't whoa like Keanu Reeves, but still like it makes you say whoa, and it makes you like appreciate the complexity. Like just think about like even just your own body, the complexity and the everything going on within it is just so wonderful. And even if you don't believe in a creator, you can look at the cosmos and see the glory and the beauty of all of it, and you can see how wonderful it is, or in some ways how kind of scary it can be too, like how like it's just like this great story that's being told all the time, a constant like thread that we can all kind of see, you know and we get to play our part on our own scale, but there's like these much bigger scales where everything else is playing their part. And, on each scale, everybody's playing their part, and we're all moving along in this great play together. And, I think we should take into consideration that everybody's moving along in accordance to the role they've been written. And, some people some people have different experiences, and it's going to lead them in different ways. But you know what? You should just say, Jay, you should just say, that's great. That's wonderful. It's wonderful that we all have these different roles. And, sometimes people have roles that are antagonists, but, we should try not to hold that against them. We should just try to uh, move every day to get forward and closer to the Divine Mother and closer to the divine reality that is ever present within all things. And man, I just think that's all really cool. And I just wanted to share all those thoughts I've been having with you guys. Sometimes you just go into like a deep meditative state and you just get all kinds of strange thoughts that bubble up, and you go, wow, it's kind of crazy to think about all that stuff. And sometimes you think about all that stuff and it just really, really makes you think, wow, I'm just so very blessed to be here and to be able to experience these things. And I'm so very blessed to live in an age where we have the internet, where I can learn about all kinds of different crazy things going on around the planet. I mean, I am so very fortunate, and this is a silly thing to say I'm so thankful for, maybe, but I get to paint my little orcs, and I get to love them, and I get to talk to you guys. I get to make these YouTube videos. I get to be just so very blessed, and I just get to share these thoughts, and what can you say other than thank you God for that. you know I don't know, maybe that sounds silly to some of y'all, but it's just the way I feel like we have been given so much, and I really sincerely hope that everyone who watches this, I really and truly hope that you can see the blessings in your life, and that you can see the glory and the love and the peace in your life, and whatever you're after, I hope you can gain it, and I hope that you can have a great time with it, and I hope that you're safe, and I hope that you're happy wherever you go. And I hope that you can think of Kitty Cat, me, and get a hug from me in mind spirit. Here, big hug, jump, hug. You know? I hope you all get a wonderful brain hug from that. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to share today. Just some stuff that's been on my Kitty Cat brain. And we'll say a little prayer and then we'll get out of here, huh? O Divine Mother, guide us from the unreal to the real, guide us from darkness unto light, and guide us from death to immortality. Guide us so that we may remember you, thank you, and perfect our worship of you. Thank you, Divine Mother, for everything you've ever given us, and thank you that we can praise your name, and that we can think about you, and that we have time to say hello to one another and speak our love to one another. Please, Divine Mother, let mercy and love grow in our hearts, and please, Divine Mother, guide us along your way. Please, Divine Mother, give us the strength to endure whatever we have to deal with in our life, and make sure that we have a smile on our face while we do it. Thank you, Divine Mother, for everything. I love you. Om Krim Hakalikayi Namaha. Okay. Bright lights. And I hope that you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I love you all, and I hope that you're all having a nice day full of love. And remember, God bless, and that everyone around us has different things to deal with, so we should always try to support one another. Okay? Okay. Bye bye. God bless.